Life has a way of throwing curveballs when we least expect them. From shattered dreams to unexpected detours, we've all experienced the ups and downs that can leave us feeling lost and defeated. But here's the secret. It's in those moments of struggle that our true strength emerges. So in this video, we're diving deep into the roller coaster of life, unraveling the mysteries of overcoming obstacles and finding the resilience to rise above. Get ready to rewrite your story and embrace the power that is within you. Welcome back to Define Resistance. My name is Francis. This is where we explore ways to overcome the resistance in our lives so that we can reach the fullest potential within ourselves, because I believe that when we're able to do this, life will flow with more joy, peace, balance, and alignment. So in today's video, we're going to dive deep into why everything might be going wrong in your life and what you can do about it. First, we're going to normalize the hell out of this idea because it can often isolate you, making you believe that this isn't happening to anyone else. That is totally false. Okay, so everyone experiences setbacks, and every setback is curated for your own personal growth journey. Isn't that fabulous? Isn't that fabulous to know? Next, we're going to discuss common reasons why people may be feeling like everything is going wrong with their lives. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. We're going to dive into victimhood. Many of you are stuck in the cycle of victimhood. And that's a huge part of why you might feel like nothing is going wrong in your life, why you feel like you're in the constant wheel of believing that maybe you have bad luck. Or someone actually emailed me asking why they felt cursed. So we're going to go into that a little bit. Then, of course, I'm going to share with you some ways that you can disrupt some of this bit by bit. Some of this you might be familiar with, especially if you're familiar with my channel, and some of it might be new. Keep this in mind. As hard as this might seem right now in your life, none of these solutions are complicated. What makes it seem harder than it actually is, really, is just a lack of emotional regulation and disempowering, rigid thought patterns. Feeling like everything is going wrong in life is very much a common experience that many of us go through at some point. And it's a natural and a normal response to the challenges, the setbacks, and the uncertainties that life presents. So here's why this is normal. You ready for this? Welcome to being human. We have a wide range of emotions. They can be really low and they can be really high and everything in between. And so when we're faced with multiple difficulties or a series of unfortunate events, it's natural to feel overwhelmed and for these negative emotions to intensify. Remember that experiencing these emotions does not mean there is something inherently wrong with you or your life. So a lot can make you feel like everything in your life is going wrong. It could be due to external factors like financial difficulties, relationship stuff, health issues, work-related stress. It also could be due to internal factors such as negative self-talk, low self-esteem, and maybe there's a lack of direction in your life that's impacting this idea that everything is going wrong. We often feel like we're the only ones because people out here just fronting. No, I'm just kidding. But people in general have a hard time sharing their emotions and talking out loud about their setbacks because maybe they fear judgment, maybe they're embarrassed or feel somewhat ashamed. Most people wear masks, which is why it's important to find your tribe so that you can create more authentic relationships. And this is helpful, but it also doesn't mean that we're going to form groups so that we can lament into the problem and remain stuck in the cycle and talk about it for hours on end. But now you have a place where you can actually take those masks off. And the reason why we're here, 3 reasons. Negative thinking patterns such as catastrophizing or always expecting the worst. If you're expecting the worst, then the worst will surely land at your doorstep. And when we are expecting the worst, it's going to also amplify that everything is going wrong. When our thoughts are constantly focused on negative outcomes or we just dwell on past failures, it becomes challenging to recognize positive aspects or windows of opportunities in our lives. So that negative thinking can actually create a self-perpetuating cycle that reinforces the belief that nothing is going right. Our perception can sometimes be biased towards negative experiences. So when we're going through a rough patch, it may seem like everything is going wrong because our attention is primarily focused on negative aspects. So if we're problem focused, we're just going to see problems. If we're solution focused, then we'll see solutions. And so because of this, we may overlook or downplay the positive elements in our lives, a very skewed perception. I did a whole video about why our brain tends to focus on the negatives. I'll leave it at the end so that you can check it out. So number 3, we need to recognize and confront negative thoughts. So be mindful of any negative self-talk or limiting beliefs that fuel your belief that everything is going wrong. So interrogate these thoughts by questioning their accuracy and replacing them with more positive and empowering affirmations help you shift your mindset and your energy. For some people, and I get this, affirmations aren't really always very helpful. Okay. And usually it's because these negative emotions and thoughts that they're feeling are just way too intense. I still encourage replacing negative language with at least more positive language because of the frequency behind the words matter. For myself, I tend to balance affirmations with a bit of Stoic philosophy. If you're not familiar with Stoic philosophy, it might be helpful. Stoicism views the process of identifying and challenging negative thoughts from a different perspective than what we've been taught or what we've seen. In Stoic philosophy, the focus is on accepting and embracing the things that are within our control while letting go of attachment to external outcomes. Instead of solely replacing negative thoughts with positive affirmations, Stoicism encourages individuals to cultivate a mindset of equanimity and resilience in the face of adversity. And Stoics believe that our perception of events is what shapes our experiences. And by adopting a more rational, almost neutral or detached perspective, we can actually find inner peace and maintain a sense of control over our thoughts and our emotions. Also emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between what's within our control and what is outside of our control, ultimately guiding individuals to shift their focus towards what they can influence and develop an empowered mindset despite the challenges that they may face. So Stoicism is something to look into. Just be mindful to process your emotions and trauma first before adopting this kind of philosophy. So we all know that life goes up and life goes down. And we can get attached to it when it's up here, and we can get attached to it when it's down here. So no one can escape the ebbs and flows of life. It's part of the human existence to encounter obstacles, setbacks, and failures. Remember every movie that you enjoyed watching? That's a hero's journey. What we're living out is a hero's journey. I did a whole video about hero's journey and how to adopt that into your life. So definitely check that out. But these difficulties can make us question ourselves and our circumstances, leading us to feeling that everything is going wrong in our lives. And this process leads you into 2 traps, the comparison and the expectation trap. I did a whole video about how to stop the comparison trap, but when life is lifing, it's super easy to default to doing this. So we have to be very, very aware, because comparing our lives to others or having unrealistic expectations can make it feel like your entire world is going wrong. You know, social media and the constant exposure to others' seemingly perfect lives can create a very distorted perception of reality. And when our lives don't measure up to those ideals the way that we think or believe, it can actually amplify these feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction. So what we do is we start to scrutinize our lives in ways that is not very helpful. And so the constant exposure to curated versions of other people's lives can actually have us believing that we're falling behind. So it's essential to remember that people typically present the highlights of their lives on social media. We all know this. And comparing ourselves to these idealized representations can actually distort our own reality. Remember 2 things. First, we really don't know what's happening in people's lives when they go to bed at night. You know, we've seen such a rise in suicide. So the grass is not always greener on the other side. And so we don't know what silent battles people are facing. Second, everyone has a specific blueprint here on earth, a specific journey. No journey is alike because of this unique spiritual path, and especially because you have a uniqueness that no one else carries or has. The sooner that you can accept this, the quicker you can begin to shift your energy elsewhere. All right, let's roll. It's now time to shift from victim mentality to an empowered mindset. Many of us have experienced moments in our lives where we feel like victims of our circumstances. Been there. We blame external factors for our misfortune and believe that we have no control over our situations. And this victim mentality actually keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity, helplessness, and discontent. Okay, it's time to shift from a victim mentality to an empowered mindset. Many of us have experienced moments in our lives where we feel we're our victims of our circumstances. And sometimes it begins that way, right? So we tend to blame external factors for our misfortunes and actually believe that we have no control over our situations. And so this victim mentality keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity, hopelessness, and discontent. But here's the truth. We have the power to change our mindset and take control of our lives. When we embrace an empowered mindset, we recognize that we have the ability to shape our reality, overcome challenges, and create positive changes in our lives. Instead of dwelling on past setbacks and blaming others, an empowered mindset focuses on taking responsibility for our actions and our choices. It encourages us to see obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning. It empowers us to believe in our own capabilities and trust in our own resilience. But making this shift requires self-reflection, courage, and a willingness to change our own limiting beliefs. It involves recognizing that we always have a choice in how we respond to life's challenges, that we can choose to react with our strength, determination, and optimism. When we adopt an empowered mindset, we start to see setbacks as temporary and surmountable. We develop a sense of resilience that allows us to bounce back from failures and keep us moving forward. We become proactive problem solvers, seeking solutions instead of just dwelling and focusing on the problem. Also opens us up to new possibilities and opportunities that we didn't see before. We start to believe in our own potential and begin to pursue our desired lives with passion and determination. We develop a sense of self-worth and begin to attract positive people and circumstances into our lives. So if you're tired of feeling like a victim, it's time to make a conscious choice to shift your mindset. Take ownership of your life. Embrace your personal power and believe in your ability to create the life that you desire. Remember, you are not defined by your past or your circumstances. You have the power to literally shape your present and rewrite your entire narrative. But part of this shift begins with breaking free from the chains of victimhood. Reclaim your power and become the hero of your own story. I remember when I finally decided to take accountability for my life. It was, I believe, 2011. After my grandmother died, I left a very toxic relationship. I decided to finally take responsibility for everything in my life. I remember looking in the mirror and seeing myself for the first time with all the flaws. And I looked at myself and I was like, oh my God, I was really overweight. I was 232 pounds and I was not happy. So I was finally able to look at myself in the mirror and say, you're not happy with your health. You're not happy with your life. And it's time to make some changes. And the day that I took responsibility for everything that happened to me up until that point, that's when everything began to change. Everything. And I committed to making better choices. And that started for me with food. And then eventually, as I began to strengthen my confidence and strengthen my resilience, I began to notice the shifts in my life. I began to see over time, as I continued to do this, even when I started to experience even more challenges, that the wrong people were falling out of my life so that the right people can come in. Opportunities started to present themselves because I started to clear the clutter. And a lot of you aren't able to see those opportunities because you're holding on to a lot of clutter. And the minute that you begin to free yourself from that clutter, and I'm talking about emotional clutter, mental clutter, physical clutter, people clutter, life really begins to shift. And so that is the invitation for you to begin to take responsibility for all the decisions. And you do that without guilt, without shame or judgment. And it's like just being really honest with yourself. Yeah, I did that. And now I'm going to make better choices. I'm going to do something different moving forward, which leads me to ask, what's really going on with all of the things that are going wrong? This is important, so listen closely. Sometimes feeling like everything is going wrong can be a sign of personal growth and change. As we evolve and strive for something different in our lives or the desire to pursue different paths, we may face unfamiliar challenges or encounter obstacles. And this reminds me of every time that we hold our retreats. There's usually a few folks, sometimes all of them, right before coming to the retreat, they will experience a lot of setbacks and challenges, a lot of barriers. And the reason why is because the energy and the ego can sense that something is about to change. And so the energy, that old energy, is going to want to hold on to what used to be. And when it does that, it will start to have you second guessing your decisions. It will have you start second guessing yourself. It will have you start saying, okay, maybe this isn't the path. Maybe I should retreat. And fear begins to build up. And that's when it's so important to really hold on steadfast to the decisions that you made to make those shifts and changes in your life. It's so, so important because this transitional period can be very unsettling and give the impression that everything is falling apart. However, it often leads to powerful growth, resilience, and the opportunity for a new beginning with a new narrative. Remember, where there's a breakdown, there's usually a breakthrough around the corner somewhere. And I'm not going to lie, when I was going through my dark night of the soul, that breakthrough lasted a few years, but there were different levels of it. What felt like a breakdown in year 1 was very different than in year 2, than in year 3, and so forth, because I began to harness those lessons to dictate the changes that I wanted to see. I was building resilience. I was building confidence. So the breakdown in year 1 wasn't as, so the breakdown in year 2 wasn't as catastrophic as the breakdown in year 1 until I fully emerged out of that. I'll tell you a quick story. When I actually got my reading done, I'm really big into astrology. Not that I know about it. I just like to get my readings done. And I remember one of the psychics or the mediums that I met with was saying that, oh, you're coming out of a long cycle. And I felt that 10-year cycle that was happening in my life that I was going to actually fully emerge from. That resonated because that 10-year, I was in the midst of it. It just felt like a real struggle. But I knew deep down inside, I had to just wait it out. So I knew that even before the astrologer told me this, because I could sense that it was coming to an end. I say this to say that it's crucial to recognize that feeling like everything is going wrong in your life is a temporary state of being, and it's not a permanent condition. It's a natural part of life's ebb and flow, and it might be some planets that are orbiting in your chart, and a cycle is about to end. While it's natural to feel like everything is going wrong in your life, it's important to remember that challenges also represent valuable lessons and growth opportunities. So here's how you can shift your perspective and find the silver lining within your struggles. First thing I always say, practice self-compassion. I'm not going to go too much into it because I did a whole video about it, but just be kind to yourself. Be gentle. Next, whatever problem you're going through, set small, achievable goals. Break whatever problem it is into small, manageable tasks. I'm all about what micro ways can I practice some of the stuff that is really hard so that I can prepare myself for the bigger things instead of trying to do everything all at once. And as you move along, celebrate the small wins. All of that is going to help you to build momentum and confidence. Next, get support. Reach out to people, because what you're going to find is that you need a network to share your feelings and experiences. And sometimes just talking about those challenges can actually provide you with immediate emotional relief and also give you different perspectives, right? So you can see things differently that maybe you haven't seen. It might be helpful for you to find somebody who is a professional that is actually tailored to your specific situation. Be open to something like that. And then practice mindfulness and self-care. I always talk about this. Mindfulness techniques, very important. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but breathing, meditation, finding ways to ground yourself so that you can, reduce stress and just take care of yourself. Prioritize your self-care and, find ways to be with nature, to relax and to find your joy. And that's really going to help begin to shift the energy. Next, I want you to embrace resilience. Recognize that navigating through tough times builds resilience. Each setback you encounter can strengthen your ability to bounce back. And you find yourself, what took you a lot longer to bounce back, you're starting to see yourself bouncing back a lot quicker. And the reason being is that you now understand. And so any future obstacles, you face them with a greater confidence. So embracing resilience allows you to cultivate a very optimistic and positive mindset and your ability to overcome these challenges. Of course, next is to cultivate gratitude. Not going to go too much in that. Shift your focus into gratitude by just acknowledging just the little things that you might be thankful for, which may not even be the little things. Sometimes the little things are the big things. And so this practice can also begin to shift your energy. Learn. You gotta learn from the mistakes and embrace the growth. Instead of dwelling on past failures or mistakes, view them as opportunities for growth and learning. What can I learn? Life is full of uncertainties. So learning to embrace change is so crucial. Recognize that challenges often come opportunities for personal transformation and new beginnings. Yes. So by cultivating a mindset of adaptability and openness to change, you can actually navigate obstacles more effectively. So reflect on what you can learn from these experiences and how you can actually apply these lessons moving forward into your life. Next, you want to take action, seek solutions, identify specific actions you can actually take to address the challenges you're facing. Break them down, like I said earlier. Develop a plan and then tackle each one bit by bit, and then consider what skills, strengths, or insights that you have gained as a result of all of this. Sometimes the most significant personal growth comes from overcoming very difficult situations. So by taking proactive steps towards finding solutions, you regain a sense of control and empowerment. So you become more solution focused instead of problem focused. Elizabeth Gilbert said something that I always sticks with me. And she said, don't waste your suffering. Take your suffering and transmute it into something so powerful and so beautiful. Don't waste it. And so let's continue. Surround yourself with positive influences. Seek out positive and uplifting content, books, podcasts, watch videos like this, anything that inspires you. So surround yourself with positive and encouraging people who believe in your potential and can provide guidance along the way. I say, if you don't believe in yourself, what I sometimes tell my clients, borrow my belief in you. Borrow my belief that I believe in you, that you can actually do this thing. Sometimes all we need is somebody else's belief in ourselves to just get us started. So borrow my belief. And with each step, make sure you celebrate, recognize the progress that you've made so far, the resilience that you've shown, the decisions that you've made, the little tiny tweaks in between. Celebrate. Because now you're reinforcing a positive mindset. You're building confidence, and that will help you to continue to move forward. Turning things around, it takes time, it takes effort, but be patient with yourself and stay committed to taking consistent action towards creating a wildly beautiful life. Remember, it's not about denying the difficulties that you're facing, but rather finding the lessons and the growth opportunities within them. By embracing challenges as valuable experiences, you actually develop resilience, you cultivate personal growth, and ultimately you thrive in the face of adversity. So this is an invitation for you to reframe what it means when everything in your life feels like it's going wrong. And I'll leave you with a quote. Sometimes we're tested not to show our weaknesses, but to discover our strengths. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you found value in the video, definitely like and subscribe. Share it with somebody that you think would also find value in the video as well. Leave in the comment below. Let me know one insight that you got from the video and one action step that you plan to take to kind of move your life forward. I'd love to hear it. And when you share, that also inspires other people to think about their lives and also do the same. Thank you. And I will see you on the other side of wholeness.